Hey, welcome! Today we'll be making a Mario Pinata. Now, as you guys saw, my brother did tear that Pinata apart. But before that, it took me about a week to make. So how did I start? As you guys can see, I always start with a sketch. Not all the time, but for the most part when I do 3D Pinatas, I do like to do it as a sketch because it gives me like a vision of how to start off. And as you guys can see, the circles usually tend to be balloons and then everything else is just cardboard. Now, I have the box here that I'm going to be using for my base. I did want this to be a jumping Mario since he's always jumping. And then I took 2 balloons, I blew them up and tied them together. These are going to form the body and the head of Mario. Once they are tied together, I will be taking a piece of cardboard and just putting it like in the middle because this is going to be part of the neck. Now later on, I did end up cutting it a little bit and about halfway. So right here, you might see that's a little bit too thick. But yeah, then I secure that to the balloons with tape. Now moving on to the next step, I will be getting some cereal boxes, I believe. These were cereal boxes that I just opened up and cut in half. These I will be using for the legs. Now it is very important that you kind of plan ahead of time so you know what you're doing. I did roll these up and then I added a couple of hot glue in between so that it can stick together, and after that I secured it with tape because I don't want this piñata to fall apart, you know, like right before the birthday kid even gets to hit it. So yeah, as I said, I am putting some hot glue and sticking it together, apply some pressure in between. Once I am done and the hot glue is pretty dry, I do attach some tape. So this is how it looks after I did attach the foot, and then there's that little piece of cardboard that I'm using as support so that it could be up in the air. Now that I have my legs and my body of my Mario, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the arms. So for the arms, I am doing pretty much the same thing that I did for the legs. Taking a little bit of cardboard, rolling it up and sticking it together, you know. But in this case, I'm not doing 4, I'm doing 3. I am doing one of them is going to be like a hand stretching up towards the air. And the other one is going to be kind of leaned back with the bend in between the elbows. I don't know how to explain it, but you'll see it once I do put it together. Now this is what I have at the moment. I have that piece of cardboard, as I said before, for support and helping maintain the shape. Then I attached the arms. Once I was done with that, I was ready to go ahead and apply my first coat of newspaper / grocery advertisement paper. You know what I mean. It has the same texture, so that's the paper that I'm using. I do like to recycle as much as I can. As you guys can see from everything that I used any boxes that are left over from when I go to the grocery store and all the packaged stuff. And I am starting off right here because I want this to be really strong. This is what's gonna like be the deal breaker, like what is gonna define whether my piñata is good or not. You know, like if it's gonna stand up as I thought it was. So I do add a lot like of layers right here, but I'm just focusing on this part, and then like all the things that are joined together, like the legs where they're attached to the balloons and the arms. And even though I didn't finish, this is the first time that I do it. Not the first time, but you know, like the first coats that I do. And then I'm just gonna let it dry, because if I add too much, it's gonna be too heavy and it could just all collapse. Now for the hat, I am taking this like part of a pizza box. I'm telling you guys, I recycle everything. And I just drew a circle and then kind of the outline of what a hat is. Now I'm just gonna cut it out and make sure that it fits. If I need to open up the circle a little bit more, but then I'll just hot glue it just to keep it in place for now. After that, I will be adding like some tape and stuff. Then I just did this little part to make it part of like the front of the hat. And as you guys can see, I added a couple of balloons for the arms. They are going to be kind of in a fist, and once it dried after the first coat, it is now able to like stand on one foot. But yeah, another thing, in the mouth I added a couple of like pieces of paper just to give it that. Okay, now this is where I'm so far. I did miss the part where I attached the hanging string. I put it all throughout the body and wrapped it around the leg, going down towards the box. And then as you guys can see, I already finished with the other layer of my paper. Now it's nice and hard. Maybe I will be adding a couple of more to the face to smooth it out. And I did forget to do the ears, so I still have to attach a couple of ears. I'll just finish wrapping like the bottom cube of the piñata, and I'll be done and ready to decorate. Now that I am done with my layers of, you know, the paper, I am adding a couple of layers of color. This is gonna serve as a background, so that when I attach the final coat of Fringe paper, you won't be able like to see through the other paper that's underneath. You know, you could always like paint it white or do a layer of white, but I'm just doing it with the colors that it has. As you guys can see right here, I'm just cutting a bunch of little squares, and I will be attaching them to the parts that are red, blue, and yellow. It's just gonna give it a really nice finished, polished look. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, just with the brush, I am spreading out my glue, which is my Engrudo. If you have regular glue, that is great as well. And just make sure it's as flat as possible, because after this I am going to be adding it on top. This is how it's looking so far, and I'm just going to continue to do the rest. Now right here we have a little bit of paint. It looks nasty, it looks like poop, huh? But anyways, I'm just gonna mix it up. I didn't find the brown paper, so I just ended up painting the legs, not the legs, the feet, the shoes, and then let it dry, and I am cutting my paper. So I usually do tissue paper, but then lately I found that when I buy this type of paper, since it's already in a row and this thick, it's a lot more easier for me to work with, and it makes it faster for me to finish. I know this looks like it didn't take that long, because with editing it's like you could show everything and a little bit of time, but it did take me a whole week of work for this piñata. Once I finish cutting it, I'm just gonna like take this adhesive. You could use any glue, but I'm using this adhesive spray so that I can work faster, and I'm just applying layer after layer, starting off from the bottom all the time. And yeah, just continue to do this throughout the whole piñata, wherever you're gonna add the color of the paper, and before you know it, you'll be done. But no, I was really tired at this point. It was just one more day left, so I had to get it done all that same night. The reason why I did take a little bit longer when adding the layers, is because I would have to wait for it to dry, and usually it takes about a day. But this is how it's looking so far, and I'm loving it. Now the face, I couldn't find the paper either, so I ended up painting it as well. Right here I am just cutting up the question marks that I'm gonna be attaching on the bottom part of the piñata, and then I did do a couple of like more details, which were the eyes, the M, and more things that I didn't get to do on film. Now this is the way it came out. I really love it. Hopefully you guys liked it as well. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, comment down below anything that you would like to see, subscribe if you would like to. And when the kids were done with the piñata, the adults got into it. So here's a couple of clips of that, and thank you guys for watching.
¡Arriba, hermano! ¡Arriba! ¡Vamos arriba, arriba! ¡Ahí arriba, ahí dale! ¡Eh! ¡Ya